didn't say 2 or 1. Welcome to another episode of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Weekly Race Edition. I am Boo. With me is WhoDat42 on on tracking and restream. We have Brianna it's Brianna Fofana, I think. It's Brianna Fo Boojak at the moment. Our runners tonight are Elastoid, Mr. Entity, Javinator, and Jack. WhoDat, how we doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing well. Excited to be here. How you doing?
Hanging in. So, why don't you tell the viewers here a little bit about the flags we're going to be working with tonight?
Sure. Well, we have a 3-10-3 seed, so we're going to need 3 characters, 10 espers, and 3 dragons. The characters are going to start out naked with their stats 80 to 120% of normal. We have divided XP, and level is going to scale based on progress times 3. So for every key item they get, esper or character or dragon, level is going to go up by 3. Hit point, magic point progression is times 3, and XP and gold progression is times 2.5. Max level is going to be 50. Looks like they're going to start out with 20,000 gold, 3 warp stones, 5 phoenix down, and 2 different kinds of tools, so that'll be interesting. Shops are completely randomized. Prices are between 1 and 50,000, and they're not allowed to buy any breakables. So that means no rods. That means no elemental shields. They're not going to be able to buy paladin shields or use Ultima or buy experience eggs or limiteds.
Yeah, so the reason we're starting out with a few stones and phoenix downs and whatnot is because when you have completely random prices, I thought some people find it a little annoying to have to pay 50 grand for phoenix down. So I thought I'd give them a little break. Whether or not they deserve it is debatable. But yeah, no extra help for this one. This is going to be basically a modified rule set of our advanced race. So this one is a little more challenging, but with a couple twists in there to make it interesting. And let me just check and see if everybody's ready here, and we'll kick this off.
Yeah, while this will be maybe a little bit more difficult of a flag set, all 4 of our featured runners tonight, there are extra people playing, but the 4 featured runners are all pretty experienced. So this should be a good challenge for them, but it shouldn't be anything overwhelming.
Well, one can dream.
Or maybe we'll be here till midnight.
Let's take some bets. Do we have a bot or something? Let's set up some betting. Somebody, can you bet with bits or something? Who's going to win? Who's coming in dead last? How long is it going to take? Let's make this interesting.
Well, last time I checked my bank account, none of them have paid me off, so commentators' curses all around, it sounds like.
All right, well, we're already up, so let's send them. Soon as the restream delay decides to, And we're off.
Theoretically, at least.
And we're off. All right, here we go. 3 character start. Let's see who we're working with today. Shadow, Sabin, and Edgar. That's not a bad start. A lot of checks available, although it is going to give them perhaps a little bit of choice paralysis here to figure out where to go first. Looks like Sabin is working with natural magic. And so is Edgar, I think. No, maybe not.
Yeah, I think Shadow does too. So this is a really good start. This should be a divergent seed here, at least. It has a high potential for it anyway. These are three characters you're always happy to see.
I thought it'd be fun to put everybody in black and white so we can pretend it's like an old 40s noir. Except for the NPCs, of course, it wouldn't let me change those. I should have just set all the color palettes to black and white.
There we go. Maybe we need a film filter option for this. We could set everything to give it a nice sepia tone.
Yeah, put some grainy, some fuzz on there. That'd be great. Tell everybody to stop, and I'll roll another one. Well, all right, we'll stick with this one for now.
So it looks like Javnator and Boo, or I'm sorry, Boo and Jack are going to.
This is why we don't
That's
put this
I
in
know
the
I know
name.
why we don't do it. Javnator and Jack are going to Figaro Castle to start out with, while Lastoid and Mr. Entity are looting Narsh.
Javnator's still rocking that watermelon UI here. We found some cheap Valiant knives for sale. While they are one of the, if not the best weapons in the game, debatable, not all that useful at the start of a seed. Highly dependent on level and HP. So I'm assuming we won't see those. Oh, we should talk about. Just saw Atma weapons for sale, and I believe the flag for "Make Atma weapon good again" is, oof, that came out weird. "Make Atma weapon good" is is uh, is on, which means damage calculations basically make it viable in the randomizer here. So I hope we get to see some of that later on.
Yeah, the new Atma weapon is really good. Before it was just something that in general you would sell because it didn't really start getting powerful till you got up in the around level 64 or so. But now it's a lot more viable in the kind of levels that you're going to end up at in KT. So it's gone way up on the weapon tier list for sure.
Hitting up the freebie checks, I noticed we have, I believe it was the Golem Esper from Shadow's Gao House check, and then but we only had a Pearl Lance on the Figaro Throne.
Yeah, not great. You don't really love dead checks, but since Edgar is a natural jumper, that could be potentially good.
Yeah, and this in a totally random shop seed. I mean, it's possible they'll find cheap lances anyway, but there's also a good chance, as I say it, you can find dragon horns as well. Javnator opts to. He probably doesn't have enough money for it now, or maybe he'll forget about it altogether, but they are available here in Zen, so it could make for a fun combo.
Yeah, Lastoid finding those Valiant knives. If you have Edgar at the head of your party, they're 7,200 gold. I think if everybody finds those, we're going to be very Valiant knife heavy by the end of the season.
Free Thunder Shield there in the collapsing house as well for Javnator. Jack's going to take some early grind fights and then decide that was a bad idea.
Looks like Javnator decided to do the monster in a box inside the collapsing house. I'm a big monster in a box fan. Usually, for me, I will try to at least fight Gigantos and try to get the offering out of Katana Soul. Sometimes, if I have those two, I'll keep fighting and do Pugs, but I have really bad luck with Pugs dropping Minervus, so it's not really worth it for me. But
the drop chance is so small, it's usually a waste of time. Although you could pull off a Fraggle and get 4 of them in one fight, which, speaking of Katana Soul,
I'd love
probably
to
going to
see
be
it.
a difficult fight here at the beginning.
Well, and the problem is because he's in a collapsing house, he can't come back to this. So he's got to decide if he wants to try to burn a couple minutes and see if it's viable right now, or maybe reset back out and do the collapsing house later. And there's a couple of options he's got, but
Shame that
with those Valiant knives being so available, offerings are going to be really nice.
definitely, and it's a shame one of those starting tools wasn't a noise blaster, or this would be basically a free fight. Gonna burn that Thunder Shield to get rid of Katana Soul. Hopefully, get rid of Katana Soul. Not yet, but solid strategy. Won't be able to find. Here comes a Bolt Edge. Might want to wish he had that Thunder Shield now. I'm not going to find any Thunder Shields or anything in shops in this seed. As you mentioned at the start, they're not available for purchase. So might be interested in hanging on with it, but an offering would definitely take over a Thunder Shield anyway. But he's going to like to go somewhere else and come back later.
Yeah, Lastoid checking out that shop there at the Gal Manor. The fundamentals, smoke bombs, those kinds of things are really expensive, it appears. So the randomizer was not nice tonight. Jack's checking out the guy in the wood selling an Esper, potentially. A little bit expensive. We don't know what it is. Again, if you check it in the World of Balance, it will tell you what you're getting. If you check in the World of Ruin, it will not tell you, but it could be a lot cheaper in the World of Ruin.
Well, that's the hope. Seems like nothing is cheap except for Valiant Knives this seed.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you make a wish and the monkey's paw, one finger goes down. I wish there were cheap Valiant Knives. Well, it comes at a cost.
See some cheap, I think they were behemoth suits and force armors in the, on Elastoid's shop there in IKEA, but not necessarily S tier. Probably wait and see what else is available. I think he might be doing some selling to get some hero rings, perhaps. At least that's where his cursor stopped before he started selling. The good news with random prices is the junk you find in chests can sometimes be extremely valuable. You get 30,000 GP leather armors and whatnot.
And Mr. Entity is doing the Figaro basement, and he's in the save room. Looks like he's gearing up. Maybe he's going to do a little bit of grinding down there in the basement.
We have a question in chat. What's with the shop prices? We're working with completely random shops in this seed, totally random items with totally random prices, although I did put a 50,000 GP cap on the prices. But they're also starting with a few free Phoenix Downs and Warp Stones just to not make it too infuriating. Let's see, Jav's gonna go check out the basement in South Figaro. We got some fighting happening on Mr. Entity's screen. Taking some grinds and gets a free instant death. Nice. Looks like Jack is gonna try to ride a Magitech armor.
He's hiding from the kid.
He's trying real hard.
Unfortunately, Power Demon is not something you can instantly kill like that, so Mr. Entity's going to have to watch fighting him, and he's fighting him again, and he's going to kill him again and reset his health yet again. So sometimes it's painful to learn lessons.
Sometimes you never learn.
I think he figured it out. Maybe not.
Nope. Oh, Mr. E. Well, Javinator made it through that same enemy real quick. I don't know what Mr. E's problem is.
Something Einstein quote, I think.
Maybe we'll have better luck with this Power Demon.
Surely.
Nope.
Javinator grinding some peepers. That's a quick way to get to level 99.
Ooh, free Minerva in that center chest there in South Figaro for Elastoid.
There we go. So if you're watching this and you're trying to find some top tier strats here, you don't want to focus on Javinator's screen right now as opposed to Mr. Entity's just for right now. Definitely want to revivify those undead enemies as opposed to attacking them with something that will kill them and bring them right back with full health. Just a pro tip.
Yeah. Or use a Phoenix Down. I was wondering if Mr. E was avoid using Phoenix Downs just as so he wouldn't be able to buy any more in the future. But he's just going to opt out of fighting those altogether, which is my preferred strategy.
Well, I think they have a really good chance to drop a Revivify, so it could be a kind of self-farming enemy. Might make it a little bit more worth it.
And it's worth pointing out for anybody who just joined that we are in a progression times 3 seed, so some grinding will probably do them some good at the start here rather than just skipping them. So I understand the strategy here, but maybe just find a different spot if you don't want to burn your consumables.
It looks like Jack has decided he's lulled everyone into a false sense of security and has started to play the game again, which is good.
Couldn't find the keys to the Magitech armor, I guess. Did find some dried meat there in the shop. It looks like it's not too cheap either. We don't have the option of turning on starting with dried meat just yet. Maybe that'll be it's a suggestion that's been around in the past. Maybe this seed will put some more weight behind it. We'll see.
You know, I was a little skeptical when they added the ability to start in with warp stones and phoenix downs and whatnot, but it actually is, it's kind of a nice quality of life thing. And when you're just hunting for dried meat and you have to look everywhere, it's very frustrating. Even if you're not racing, it's just a frustrating kind of waste of time sometimes. So I think I'd be for it.
Agreed. Jack getting to the most important part of the run. Renaming Shadow to Steve.
I think
and using
Steve is
language we can't repeat here on the stream.
Oh. Yes, Steve, the person that stole the keys to that Magitech armor, and clearly Jack's not happy about it, so he's going to go fight a Doom Dragon. Which is one of the most deadly enemies in the game, but if you can kill it and get its rage will sometimes freeze your enemies no matter who they are, even Kefka himself. So it's a good rage to pick up, and it's a lot of experience if you can kill it.
Yep, one S-Cross though, and game over. So hopefully you can do that. Well, then again, I don't know if S-Cross comes out at level 3 or wherever we are now, but we'll see what Doom Dragon opts to do. He can get stuck in an endless loop of just casting. Oh, look at that!
Wow.
He got two endless loop of casting fallen ones is what I was going to say, which is fortunate for Jack right now. And he got 2 desperation attacks in a row, and then an interceptor block. It's got some Zelfer luck going over here.
No kidding. It's very rare to get 1. I've never seen 2 in one fight, much less 2 in a row.
Fraggle joined the fray. Welcome, Fraggle. Thanks for this subby.
It looks like everybody's calling out their favorite commentator and also their favorite runner separately.
As it should be. That's weird, though. I see my name often when I'm not even here.
I think you're just that popular.
Hey, and down goes the Doom Dragon. I was going to say, well, let's see how much XP that got him, but I think he might... Is he on the Veld? No, he's not. So he got some XP there. Don't know how much it was, but I think he was going just to... I think he was really just going to learn the spells. But he should be in good shape for a fight now, so I imagine we'll see some fireworks shortly. Lastoid found himself a Gigantos for some big baller XP. Takes him out in one hit. I gotta say, I like the color choice the Lastoid has gone with here. That deep emerald green looks nice. Not so much the lime green on watermelon screen over here.
It reminds me of like a 1980s bank lobby.
Yeah.
Nice green marble.
I like it.
Well, I guess Jack is not done grinding, even though he's level 11, which is pretty good for 15 minutes in. Not sure what point he's trying to get to, but...
He's probably maybe just grabbing the free heal. Well, no, because he didn't have Terra, and he's going in here now. So yeah, he's still looking for stuff. Maybe he's not satisfied with his gear yet. Oh, I was looking at Javinator's screen. That's where we got confused. Not Jack. Jack's still grinding. All right. Where to? Imperial Camp. nice, easy runaway fights if required. Although it's worth pointing out, we're not able to run from everything in this seed. Runaway is set to 80%, so 20% of the time they won't be able to run. Maybe that's what the case was with Doom Dragon, though I didn't see any runs attempted, so I think he just went for it.
Ah, it could be.
Oh, hype train started. Everybody get in your subs and gifts and bits to do whatever a hype train does.
Yep, and just as a reminder, all of the money that is donated here that's collected for this channel will go to charity. Usually it's a charity that somebody in the community is a part of, so every once in a while somebody will do races for various charities. I know Ravlin just did one. I don't remember what the charity was offhand, but we've had people do things like St. Jude's and various mental health things. So when you donate bits or whenever you do a sub, that money does all go to charity. Nobody's making any money off of it. Get Locke from Mr. Entity there. That's going to be really good. Always nice to see Locke. Naku saying it was the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund. There you go. I did not catch it. It was at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, which is not my prime Twitch watching time, but maybe go check out the pod.
Got mirror images over here from Mystery and Jack. Well, just about anyway. And Javinator going to the same spot.
I was going to say that all of our Canadians are in the same place, but I think Lastoid's also from Canada, so.
Ew.
I know those three.
I mean, ooh.
I think you mean A.
A? How do you say A in French?
I don't know. We need Zeke in here. Zeke lives in Switzerland. Somebody go wake him up and ask him how you say that.
Well, only about midnight over there. You could be up. All right. Jack picked himself up a lock. Mystery right behind him, and Javinator right behind him. Let's see if all of our Lastoid's gone. Looks like he's still doing some shopping. Get a little prep time in.
Yeah, with the addition we had, I guess, about 6 months ago, the mass is a lot more appealing now because you can loot in the overworld. So,
Hey,
I usually like to couple that with a Strago check, or maybe a Shadow check.
Yeah, actually, it made it into my normal route because of the 5 free chests, and it's got all the shops, and it's not too far out of the way. And as you saw on Alastoid's screen, he found those offerings for sale for dirt cheap. So with the combination of Valiant Knives and offerings, we should be having some fun here later. Let's see if we can find any Genji gloves anywhere.
Looks like Jack's checking the weapon shop there, and he gets it's a dead check, and definitely want to take the Thunder Shield over the Gem Box. Gem Box, not super useful in the randomizer. It's pretty poorly regarded for randomizer. In the vanilla game, it's great, but Javinator and Mr. Entity fighting two nasty encounters for sure.
Gembox definitely has its place. It just kind of depends on the seed. In one like this, where with completely random shops, you're more likely to find some good weapons, and those are a lot faster than casting spells. So maybe for this seed, it's a good choice. But when you have a seed that's where you're mostly casting, and then you have the options to pump up your MP and whatnot, the Gembox can come in quite handy. But it's one of those things that's just not useful at all at the start of a seed because you don't even have enough MP to use it.
Yeah, I mostly use it, and I'm just a casual, I'm not a racer or anything, but I usually use it on if I have Go-Go at the end for Kefka's Tower. That way he can do things like any heals need to be done, any life 3s or stops and mutes if I have them.
Yeah, and especially if you can find quick. Also, you can do some super cheese strats with gem box and quick. End up casting Ultima like 9 times.
So the curse shield is 12. How do you feel about that? Would you go ahead and try to use it, or is that too much right now?
12's always more than I like to do. Ooh, there's another shop with offerings for sale there. It's not since they did find it right here at the pretty close to the start of the seed. It's certainly not out of the question. Kind of depends on, do you have a ribbon? Do you have offense? Like if you've got characters that aren't going to do anything anyway, then sure, throw that curse shield on them because you're not losing anything. But if I was anywhere, probably at any point past this, I wouldn't even consider it. But I think it'd probably be worth a look now.
Well, we haven't done very many fixed checks. The only thing we've had has been the Imperial Camp, so I might hold on to it in case we end up getting something like Burning House, Elite River. With Shadow, you have a few fixed checks if you do Floating Continents. I don't know. I would tend to do it, but 12 is really borderline for me.
Yeah,
Like
the floating
Javanator's
continent.
gonna.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying. Looks like Javanator is going to equip it, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, floating continent itself comes with what? Let's see. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 battles, 9 or 10, and just in that one. As long as you go all the way to the end, so you can almost uncurse the whole thing in floating continent if you have the Constitution. Looks like Elastoid just found himself a Genji glove as well, so he's at least one character is pretty much set for in-game now. Although, as mentioned before, the Valiant Knives at the start of a seed are really not that great, but they do still have the benefit of ignoring defense. So they're not bad. They're just not going to put out that big monster damage you see at in in-game.
Yeah, and hopefully he can find a good 50% or 100% plus HP Esper soon before he gets too many levels, and that'll really make those Valiant Knives shine.
Looks like he has at least the Elastoid has a ribbon. So there's one out there somewhere. I don't remember who was it. Javanator that got the curse shield. So if you can throw a ribbon on, no problem. It does still, dump your stats, so you're not going to be putting out a whole lot of damage. But at least it gets, like Andrew says in the chat, got to get rid of that muddle effect. That's just annoying. However, you can just unequip your character, just put the curse shield on him naked, and then he's just punching you for no damage. So not a big deal. Like I said, it all kind of depends on what your offense looks like. Looks like Elastoid found Katana Soul and is using the muddle strats to get him to kill himself. Now he does already have offerings, or at least I think, yeah, he has Valiant Knives and Genji Gloves, so he doesn't need another offering here, but Katana Soul does give some big time money. So maybe still worth killing as long as you can get it done relatively quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Javanator, using the Curse Shield strats on Locke, who is kind of squishy, especially with that Curse Shield, and this is an unfortunate fight to get while you're trying to decurse a shield. This is one of the worst fights you can come across, so it's going to be rough going for him.
Yeah, that would be a run for me, but did you see who he has the Curse Shield equipped on?
I believe it's Locke.
Yeah. Okay. Whoops. Gotta keep him alive to run that countdown.
It looks like Jack is going to go do the Figaro Underground Castle, so see what's down in that engine room, and presumably he's just going to shift over to the Ancient Castle. I didn't see, are dragons scaled in this?
Are not.
Ooh, okay, well that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Not going to be an easy fight if he chooses to do it now, but you only need 3 dragons, so really you can just wait till the end and do one of the quick ones and then hit the Kefka's Tower dragons maybe. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways you can tackle 3. I certainly wouldn't try to take down an unscaled dragon now, but, Jack likes to live on the edge. Maybe he will.
Yeah, Javanator showing off why this is such a bad encounter. They love to zombify you, so he has 2 zombified characters right now.
The good news is zombies don't take any damage, so silver
That
lining.
is true. but one of his characters that is zombified has the ability to hit you and cause instant death to one of your living characters, and it definitely will proc on your characters.
Every time. Jack ran into Tritok down here in the Tentacles room and happens to have Fire 3, which is pretty handy.
Yeah, Tritok could be one of those things that blocks your progress if you're not prepared for it. You either need something that's going to bypass his intense physical defense or does fire damage. Fortunately for Jack, he can get through here. This would be a really annoying place to be blocked because it's a long walk. There's no save point inside this castle at all. So fortunately, he's able to just burn right through it.
Mr. E picked up a snow muffler there in a clock, which is a reasonable place to keep one.
Closet space can be at a premium sometimes.
And now we're gonna go check a pot. You don't see Mr. E checking these random chests a whole lot. He must have devised a new strategy for this run.
It's easy
Probably
to
just-
habit. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say he probably just looking for as much money as possible because he found something expensive he wants to buy.
Like a potion.
Hey, Genji Glove and Miranda there. I'm betting he's the only one who's gonna find that one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's easy to get in the habit of going to one of these out of the way places or seeing somebody go to one of these out of the way places. Get something nice, and then I'll start routing that in, and then you're routing in these little onesie twosie chests, which can pay off, but more than not, it'll be a waste of time. But Miranda's, I like going to Miranda just to see what's in the shops. You know, it does have a weapon shop, it does have an armor shop, nothing else, chests, so it can be worth it.
Times. We got a French vanilla Ultros fight here on Javinator's screen.
Yeah, he's probably happy to see that after that really annoying gauntlet he had to go through.
Yeah, not too much to be worried about with that fight. Jack is headed into the ancient castle. Curious to see. He's got some decent levels. I mean, he's not great on levels for a dragon, but he could be gambling on hitting an easy one, you know, like the ice dragon or something, and taking a chance. If he hits the storm dragon or, you know, dirt durgan, it's gonna be rough. But my guess is he's gonna try it out.
Ooh.
All for an economizer. Although they are pretty nice at the start of a seed, especially when you have Fire 3 in tow and only 100 MP.
Yeah, you know, I don't hate it this early, but the window of its usefulness is rapidly closing.
Yep. The more earrings you find, the less useful economizer becomes. And sure enough, he's going after the dragon. It's a white Durgan, which actually probably shouldn't be too big of an issue. My guess is at this level it's going to use... All right, never mind. I was going to say Pearl might be replaced with Scar Beam, but looks like he's going to get Pearled anyway.
Yeah, and he's going through there looking for some kind of crowd control for this thing. Doesn't have it. Pearl Dragon, White Dragon does have the least number of hit points of all the dragons, but unless you can mute it, those Pearl hits are going to get brutal pretty quick.
Looks like Elastoid is going for early auction house strats and came up a winner here. So I didn't see what the Esper was, but let's see, Raiden. Jeff, second boss in Floating Continent, is not one you want to see early either, unless of course you have Fire 3 or Pearl Rods or something, but Haydn can be a nuisance this early on.
So Brianna asking in chat, doesn't Sourmouth silence? Looks like Sourmouth will inflict Dark, Poison, Imp, Mute, Muddle, and Sleep on one enemy. So yes, it would be something good to use here.
So I think say it's a little used ability, Sourmouth. It has some niche uses, but it's not one of those that's going to work on every boss. So you can probably just, you know, not if you're not used to using it, it's hard to sometimes say, ah, yes, Sourmouth. That'll come in handy here. So, but that's what separates the good from the great. Sorry, Jack.
Javinator fighting Hidden or Hidden. I've never heard anyone call him Hidden before. About a week ago, when everybody started calling him Hidden, so
Who's calling him hidden?
I don't remember some scoff law.
No. We need to stomp that out like ASAP. Can I say ASAP?
Yes, I believe you can.
Okay.
There are certain things that we'll allow. For example, Mr. Entity can say Valagar Mandus instead of Tritok, but we wouldn't accept that from anyone else.
Yeah, I don't. I disagree. He needs to cut that out too. Woolsey translations only. Tritok, not hashtag not my Tritok.
Yes, that's Sir Valagar Esquire. That's lobbying for that to be our newest emote that we have here.
It's like Lastoid's sticking with those auction house strats. He's on his second Impro bot here, and not playing the reset game. This is an extremely long cutscene to sit through. Typically, at least I think it's a good idea to, after you at least get one Esper, go out and save before you come back in, so you can reset it out of this nonsense. But you know, I guess it's only a matter of seconds and not minutes.
A couple of weeks ago, I was watching Ravlin do a ladder race, and he was pressed for time, felt really behind the eight ball, came in here and got 3 imps in a row. One of the great things about a Ravlin stream is that he has his camera on his face. It is very, very emotive whenever he is annoyed, and you could see that he was displeased by getting 3 imp robots in a row. As a viewer, I was enthralled. It was wonderful. I don't think he felt the same way.
Open for 5. Well, it paid off for Elastoid. Got his second Esper coming up here, provided he didn't miscount his GP.
Oh, that's a brutal feeling if you don't have enough money when one of those comes up. Oh.
Javinator making his way through the floating continent as Jack is headed back out of Figaro Castle. Mr. E is still shopping away over here.
Well, he just got a Atma weapon out of that out-of-the-way barrel there in the World of Ruin.
South Figaro. I noticed the Elastoid picked that one up as well.
I never checked that. It just seems too
far. Way too far out of the way. Maybe if we have totally random chests on, and I really needed money, but yeah. Dataluma happening on Javinator's screen. Elastoid's going to go hit up Narsh, although he does not have lock yet. So I guess he's going to go up and try the Tritok fight, maybe a dragon.
That's an interesting play this early.
Yeah, especially when he has all those 4 Espers now, so he's scaling up fairly high. But then again, you only need 3 characters in this particular seed. Our requirements are 3 and 10 Espers. So I guess he's just going to locations where you can't get any characters. Not the worst strategy. I just, if he hits that dragon, it's gonna be sad times, I think. Or nope, he's gonna go get it. All right, I like it. Maybe he thinks they're scaled.
Does he have a Thunder Shield?
Probably should.
Probably should, but he does seem to know about Sourmouth.
Yeah, I think he was using Sourmouth for his Katana Soul fight as well.
Fraggle bringing up a good point. With the random pricing the way it is, it may be worth going a little bit out of the way in case you get a more common item that's worth a lot more money. Still don't know if I would do it, but clearly it paid off this time.
Now the question is, do they remember or know or care that the good Atma weapon is turned on? there are Valiant knives available, which I think is almost definitively better than an Atma weapon, even with Atma weapon with good Atma weapon turned on. However, it's less risky than a Valiant knife, so I don't know. Curious to see if we see some Atma weapon strats happening later.
Yeah, it's a lot better in my mind when you have strong healing because as your hit points decrease, the Atma weapon's power goes down. Whereas Valiant knife is kind of the opposite. So, it's nice to have the options.
Picked up Celeste in the cave there. I think she had control as a command, which is not great.
No, but that Magitech factor is going to be nice with this flag set.
For sure. Probably also worth pointing out that I believe Espers can only be equipped between 5 and 12 characters. So you may see some. Is that right?
I believe that is correct.
So we may see some Espers that you're wondering, why don't they just equip this? It's got a great spell on it. Well, maybe they can.
It's also worth noting relics are only equipable between 8 and 14, so not fully mean.
I think somebody gave me feedback. Somebody who might be on this stream right now saying 5 to 12, huh? Spicy. So I took the hint and increased it.
What a nice guy. I played exactly one of those seeds where the flags say, hey, you can only have a Esper on one person, and I will never do it again.
It's not fun. Nobody likes that.
It's like having shuffled dragons and 8 required where, you have to potentially do 100% clear of a seed in order to get all the dragons. It's frustrating unless you're really in the mood for it.
I haven't seen anybody with an issue of equipping Espers just yet, so maybe we'll get lucky. I would love to see a really great Esper that nobody can equip. Just to hear about it in the interviews. And then I'll tell them it was your idea.
Go ahead. I feed off the spite.
Got Eltros' back for a little more at the end of Floating Continent here.
That was enough. So Jack's going to do the basement check. Looks like he waited on this. I've become a fan of waiting until I have Celeste to do this basement check, or if I feel like I'm not going to get her, if I have Edgar, wait and do it in the World of Ruin. That way I can pair together those discounts.
Cactrot sighting on Mystery's screen there. That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a very rare enemy. That gives a lot of magic points. It has 4 hit points. And that's one that you have to use something that penetrates defense, otherwise you're just going to have to hit it 4 times. Gold Dragon going down was a little rough. Edgar didn't make it, but not too bad. Gold Dragon, generally one of the easier dragons. Even in the randomizer, not quite as buffed as maybe it should be. But
yeah, probably the easiest dragon. You could make an argument for Ice Dragon, but Gold Dragon doesn't offer anything particularly imposing. We got Ultros number 3 for Javinator.
Yep, Javinator's got the full seafood platter going on.
Mystery's still taking grind fights. I don't know if he hit a boss that he didn't care for and thought he better get some more time in, or if he's just being overly cautious. Or maybe he really wants that Paladin shield. See you, Fraggle. Thanks for stopping by. Straight into the Dullahan fight for Elastoid, kicking it off with a well-placed Pearl. Edgar's having a rough time on the Elastoid screen there. His survivability is low, shall we say. Javinator found Celeste in the cave. See if he opts to put her in. Yep, out goes Edgar. Hopefully he didn't have the Moogle Charm on.
That's always fun.
I do it every time. So I always put the Moogle Charm on the person that I want to kick out of the party because they are useless. And then I forget. But as a reminder to folks at home and if our runners, maybe send out some ESP waves here. Split XP is on, so they can make the decision to only rock 3 party members, as Elastoid's doing up there, for more XPs per character. So if you have a worthless crap character, it might be in your best interest to just leave them out. Then again, if you get all the way to endgame with only 3 characters leveled, it can be rough.
Yeah, when you only have 3 required, the question becomes, when you hit 10 Espers, do you just go in with a limited number of characters? Do you feel safer when you have, say, 6?
I think you could definitely feel safer. I just don't think it's probably the best use of time. Because with split XP on those, theoretically anyway, your 3 characters as opposed to 6 should be much higher level. And for anyone who knows how pretty much all math works in this game, higher levels equals better than anything else.
Yeah, it's true. Once you get above about level 30, this game starts becoming really, really easy.
Got the Ramu Esper for Javinator out of South Figaro basement there. Haven't seen what's on it yet.
Jack fighting a Guardian there in the Magitech factory, so usually not too bad. Definitely chunky, but those Bolt 2s and 3s are going to make quick work of it.
Sometimes not a joke, though. He can be super threatening with the right scaling options. His stats seem to be able to go through the roof. As I know I've been cruising through seeds before and hit Guardian thinking, no big deal, and then he just one-shots everybody in my party. So not something to snooze on, but typically not definitely not in the top tier of bad bosses.
Yeah, if you let him get too far in, he'll do Ultros's moves first, then he'll go back to normal. Then he'll start throwing knives at you and doing shrapnel, and then that starts getting really bad.
Game over.
That's bad, because there's nothing you can do about that.
Everybody's taken a ride to the ancient castle so far this seed, which is interesting when you have so many different checks available. It's definitely one of the slower checks. You can pair that dragon in, which is handy, but again, with only 3 required, I'm not sure it's worth the gamble at this point.
Yeah, since you and I talked about, I believe the last time we did comms together about Mount Colts, I've been better about routing that in when I have Sabin. For some reason, everybody seems to want to wait until the end for that, but it's only about a minute to go and check. And it's a pretty straightforward check, so I've been doing that a lot. And, nobody's done Mount Colts, nobody's done the Phantom Train yet, nobody's done Barren Falls yet, so that's interesting.
Interesting, especially with Barren Falls, because that's a fast one. Like, you just walk in and fight. Granted, it has a long cutscene at the end of it, but that one's surprising. Phantom Train, you can check and see what the reward is immediately, but then again, when you don't need any more characters and you're only looking for Espers, I don't know if I want to go through Phantom Train for an Esper. I might save that one till the end in case I absolutely need it. Because that it is one of the longer checks in the randomizer.
Doomgaze for Jack there at Magitech 2. And it looks like nobody's multiple of 5, so that'll be nice. Blastoise fighting the Dirt Dragon at the Opera House in World of Ruin. That's an interesting play this early, but be a lot of experience, a lot of magic points if you can kill it.
Yeah, there's an interesting balance you have to achieve when fighting unscaled dragons. You may be able to survive an unscaled dragon early on, but they still have a lot of hit points, and so the fights can still take a long time. And I'm not sure the XP, the low-level dragon XP, is worth it. So maybe. I mean, since they are unscaled, you're getting their full XP, and it's a lot. But if the fight takes 5 minutes, that's more checks and other things that you could be doing in the meantime. So it kind of just depends on how fast you can kill the thing.
Yeah, he's making good use of that sour mouth. I wonder if he would be as bold without it, because the dragons are usually able to be affected by some sort of crowd control. So good play
Yeah,
on his part.
just about every dragon is susceptible to something, and Sourmouth covers a lot of them. So it's a good play. Javanator finally went back for that Katana Soul fight, wondering if he's just hasn't found the 2 different shops with offerings for sale for about 1,500 apiece, or maybe he just wants the money. But Elastoid's Valiant Knives are starting to put in some work up there. His levels are getting high enough to where they're doing 700 hit times 4, 2,800 damage at this level is pretty good. And down goes a Dirt Durgan. So yeah, not a bad fight. And one dragon away from, well, not from go mode, but from being done with dragons anyway. Or sorry, yeah, one dragon away.
Jack got Seraphim there from Magitech 2. It's got Cure 3 on it, which is really nice. It's some other stuff on it, but always happy to see good Cure magic available.
Yeah, increasingly more rare, it seems, finding cure magic in seeds. At least straight up cures. There's usually always a way to cure yourself, be it lores or rages or what have you. But yeah, a nice cure spell is definitely good to have.
Yeah, it looks like they do have Whirlwind, which is nice. That will heal you for the amount of health that your caster has. But obviously, if you're at low health, it's not as great. So Cure 3 is pretty nice.
Hey, I just realized our stream title is hasn't been updated. I was just about to plug ours, but I'm assuming that hasn't been updated either. So maybe if we have a mod out there hanging out in the chat, somebody wouldn't mind updating it.
Come on, Mr. Unity. We know that you're watching the stream. Just pause and do it.
If yeah, if only there were a mod around. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the 3 people worth following on here are using their Twitch names. So you just go to twitch.tv/Elastoid or Javanator or Mr. Entity and be fine. However, if you use another name to try to be cute, maybe you don't get as many followers. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. Who can say?
I'd say that's a good rule. I like it. Oh, getting some attitude from the mods in the chat. All right. And you want something done right, you got to do it yourself, I suppose.
Listen, it's Saturday night. Everybody's had a couple of tonics, a couple of tinctures. It's getting crazy out here. And if you want your very own spicy emote, you can sub to this channel. Then you can do what I just did and be cool. See, Brianna knows what's up.
Vamp a little bit. I'm titling.
Okay, it looks like we have Magimaster here at Barren Falls, so maybe it was smart not to do that super early, but with something like Drill, won't be too terrible. Mr. Entity fighting his own white dragon. Lastoid just got done with the Figaro engine room. And Javanator still simulating being on the inside of a watermelon, if you ever wonder what that was like. So we're at 5 characters, 5 Espers for Jack, 6 for Javanator, 4 for Elastoid. So, I wonder if maybe they're feeling a little bit behind there. I know Mr. Entity with 1 Esper, that's not a good feeling 51 minutes in, but anything can happen. It's still possible to make a comeback. And it looks like Elastoid is going to go down and do the Ancient Castle. See if he decides to fight that dragon. Probably, I'm guessing, since he's been using those pro strats with Sourmouth. Meanwhile, ooh, Mr. Entity getting pearled to heck and back down here. That's not good.
We did it.
All right. Look at you typing stuff in.
Ugh. Like a peasant.
Yep.
Mr. Entity barely made it through that white dragon fight, but well done.
Lock at the maximum amount of
XP.
experience points.
Gotta love it. Economizer for his troubles. Probably not going to be super happy with that one.
It looks like Job Vader's going to do Opera House.
We are starting to see some of these Valiant Knife and Atma weapon strats come out. Levels are getting up there. HP is getting up there. All in all, not a terrible seed. Some fairly generous here, I think. Blastoid trying to get his final dragon in early here. See if he brings out the Sour Mouth again.
Jack suffering the penalty for renaming your characters, especially to something that's quasi PG-13 there. That's what happens.
Speaking of Barren Falls, maybe this is why we didn't see it earlier. Javinator going for the Opera House play. Don't see that one every day. I like it. I don't know if he's uncursed his shield yet, but that's we'll get him definitely a few steps closer if he hasn't.
As much as I like the Opera House in vanilla game, in the randomizer, I don't know, it feels like it takes maybe a little bit too long. It's nice if you are looking for some fixed encounters, somewhat fixed encounters from those rats, but it just feels like it takes a long time.
It does take a long time. It's definitely not a fast check.
And yes, while you're following Brianna and while you're following Boo, also follow Ceiling Cat. Get in on the ground floor of the Ceiling Cat Media Empire. She has cats that sleep inside of a little thing that looks like a wheel of cheese with a hole cut in it.
That was actually not an intentional leave out. Don't worry, I'll get her in there. What you get for sassing me?
You're really earning your pay tonight, Boo. So Luridans for Javinator there. That's not a terrible encounter. Kind of cool looking enemy. Jack is doing the Phantom Train. So let's see. Let's see what we have there.
All right. One more ad. Can't be bothered to pay attention to things. Somebody's supposed to do this for me.
Looks like he's going to be happy with that payoff at the end of the train here.
Hopefully that's the right twitch for Naku. But that's it. It's the last time I'm editing it. Unless you want me to put you in there too, Houdat. There's still time.
No, do not follow me. I do not actually stream.
I haven't streamed in a few weeks. I've actually gotten more followers while I haven't streamed than I did when I was streaming, which is very strange. But I guess that tells me something.
Yeah, I'm up to 15 people who will never be alerted that I'm streaming because I don't stream. But Mr. Entity is doing the Cave on the Veldt check from Shadow and fighting a Master Pug. Thank you, Naku. I appreciate that. And Jack is fighting Siegfried for the memes, I guess. Maybe he feels he's too far ahead.
On purpose?
It's Jack, so I don't know.
It's very hard to tell.
Maybe he's still mad at Steve and he's tilted. But what I can tell you is that whenever you randomly get Siegfried as the fire enemies inside a burning house, it's sad times.
That's what you get for going inside the burning house.
It's true.
Looks like I think that last fight the Javinator finally uncursed his shield. I'm pretty sure I saw a timer in the last fight and don't see one this time, so Paladin shield acquired? Maybe?
Well, that's a good feeling. He should probably put it on lock so the lock doesn't die constantly.
I was gonna say if he did get that Paladin shield, it's probably not on lock anymore because he's taking hits all over the place.
Fixed dice for Jack. He'll be excited by that. One of his favorite items. And pugs. We'll see if the 1 in 8 chance per pug Minerva pays off for him.
And who do we have waiting on stage? Also, why isn't anybody using jump strats? This is fairly insulting, and I don't care for it.
I mean, they all know you're on comms, and they all know that you came with a flag set.
They all have Edgar. I saw a Dragonhorn in that shop. I just saw Lastoid looking at some boots, so I'm taking this as a personal attack.
Speaking of personal attacks, it's like Narapa's getting personally attacked by Locke there.
Shouldn't be any problem there. Oh.
And Narapa took it personally.
Well, play with fire.
Yep. We don't have to imagine it, Brianna. Boo's living it in his mind. So Mr. Entity had Inferno there at the Cable Belt spot.
Lastoid heard me. Just equipped Dragoon boots and a Dragonhorn. All right. Now that's a real gamer. See, Andrew Racho in the chat here. They understand what's going on. They understand how to play this randomizer.
Andrew, you should join the Discord like everybody else if you haven't already. You should watch to see the next time Boo is going to do comms, and you should sign up to be restreamed. And then you can show your jump strats, and there will be no commentator's curse on you.
I mean, if they'd been doing it this whole time, they'd probably be done already.
Yeah, we'd be sipping on a root beer on the veranda right now.
Well, Jack just LMAO'd in the Discord right after his Siegfried fight, so I'm not sure what that means, but he knows that we know.
We should definitely not ask him about it whenever we interview him. So Javinator doing Magitech. I know everybody seems to love doing Magitech 1 and 2. Everybody hates Magitech 3.
Yeah, Magitech 3 is the worst. It's the worst. Well, it's actually third worst behind Floating Continent and Burning House.
Okay, yeah. What about Phoenix Cave? I still like it better than Phoenix Cave.
I think that's a tough one. Let's call it a tie. Better than what?
Ebbett's Rock.
Oh, yeah. It's a toss-up. I'll allow it. Brianna has seen this Magitech 3, like legitimately has seen it and knows it's bad. So hopefully nobody does it. I don't imagine we'll see it. I don't think there's any reason to do it with all the checks available. But then again, I haven't been keeping track of all of them, so we'll see. We got a Yeti sliding down the train tracks on Jack's screen.
That's how you get blisters on your feet.
It's like speed skating. Look at that. There's like a Apollo Anton Ono over here.
There's a reference. I'm sure all the kids on the Twitch will get.
Are speed skaters from the late 90s not cool anymore?
Poor sweet innocent. But Umar goes down. not usually a bad boss. Really cool because you can poison him. I really like casting Bio on him.
Forbid. I like it.
Blastoid getting his French Vanilla Ultros there in the sky. Javinator fighting the Guardian, who's going to be nice and beefy. And it's like Mr. Entity is going to do the Collapsing House. So a little bit of already trodden ground here. But Jack is going to go to Doma Castle, and always an enjoyable fight. Nice, really quick check. Probably worth going and doing Doma Dream as well, because he has Locke, who has Sword Tech.
I definitely would, especially when you still need 5 more Espers. There's a chance for 3 of them in one check there, and if with good fights you can get all 3 of them done in about 4.5 minutes. So it's actually really economical to do it, and it's kind of a fun check. Aside from that long cutscene in the middle where you can only just watch and run around, it's kind of annoying, but it's worth it. All right, take it back. Andrew Racho doesn't know how to play this game. My mistake.
Ooh. That's brutal, Andrew. That's a rough one there.
When you get Houdat saying "oof" at puns, you know it's bad. Actually, I really like your puns there. 90s City references. Michelle Kwan and Tanya Harding. And, I like it.
All right, all of you were skating on thin ice with these puns here. Javinator fighting Doomgaze and showing off why Valiant Knife plus Offering plus Genji Glove is just great. Though I do like the idea that Locke is going to get countered and die every time he does that. It seems like that's going to happen.
Jack having a little bit of trouble with Doom down there.
All right, we need a mod again in chat.
I actually really like that.
That's actually pretty good.
What would Brian Boitano do?
Make obscure puns in an obscure Twitch stream.
That's 2 references in one.
Oh, I know. It's Andrew's like a layer cake, right? He's working on multiple levels here.
It's like a punion. I thought that was pretty good.
It was good. It was good.
I'd like some credit, please.
Mr. Entity just shivered a little bit.
Mr. Entity just ditched a Super Bowl and selling a bunch of stuff. What's he trying to buy?
Doom just being brutal for Jack down here. Usually Doom's not too big of a deal, but...
Wait, Mr. Entity just sold a bunch of stuff to get 150 grand so he could buy 1 circlet. What's that about?
Well, if I'm to understand what I read in chat about one of our Discord members' dreams, apparently people really love circlets.
He must. Well, he found a Genji Glove now, so that'll make him a little happier. Yikes, his Edgar is still level 12. Edgar's having a rough time this season.
You know, Andrew, I appreciate the puns, but being from Louisiana, where ice only exists in drinks, skating was never something I really learned a lot about. But I'm curious.
I know everything that you're saying, and I like it. Oksana buy you a drink. It's kind of like I want to buy you a drink.
I get it. I do.
Get it? And Oksana Bayul was a figure skater.
We're at 106. I want to see what the puns are like around the 140 mark. See if they keep leveling up like our runners do.
I'm kind of hoping we don't hear anymore, and then we should just go out on top. All right. Well, Javinator found and made quick work of Magimaster with those 8 Valiant Knife swings. No problem there. Blastoid working toward the end of the floating continent here, while Mr. E is still putzing around on the airship.
There you go. Hefe gets it. That Hefe's got a nice ice cold drink right now. Because I'm sure it's 200 degrees in Louisiana.
Yeah, but you moved out, so you don't
I
count
did.
as a Louisianian anymore.
I'm slowly losing it.
Kind of sound like you're from the Midwest or something.
I was told that I need to go back to California or wherever the hell I came from when I mispronounced something on the radio 20 years ago in Indiana. Yeah, people would be like, "You're not from Louisiana," like, because I don't sound like the water boy, I guess. But at any rate, Mr. Entity doing some deep checks here in this cave. Now, that one, I almost never get that chest either. I don't know. Maybe I should start being bolder and going more out of the way for chests. But
Well, considering he's way, way behind, I would say this is a case against doing that.
they're all called Coke, Andrew.
Yeah, in the South, all sodas are called Coke. Oh, he's talking about in the mid. He was thinking you meant in Indiana.
Oh no. There was a name of a county that was very French, and I pronounced it French as I would if I were in Louisiana, and that was incorrect.
Look at that. Did you see Edgar on a Lastoid screen? That's how you do it. It's like a majestic eagle flying through the air. Took Ultras out in 4 bounces of a pogo stick. The way the game should be played.
I think even if Lastoid doesn't win, he's won, right? I mean, I don't think we can reward Jack for his shenanigans. Javinator, maybe he's on thin ice like Chad. Mr. Entity, he needs to wow us a little bit more. We need him to do something crazy.
Not only young, he's also Canadian. He definitely knows it. Doesn't know who any of these skaters are.
Double Gold Dragon on the screen for you Gold Dragon fans out there. The thing that's definitely dragon and not a dinosaur. Well, it was Cheese Reaver. It was a county in Indiana. It was Dubois County, which I called Dubois County. If I called it Dubois Parish, they would have run me out of town. As it was, I just got yelled at.
Oh, boys. That's how they say it in Chicago.
Yeah, boys.
Hey, somebody finally responded to what Brian Boitano would do 10 minutes later. Thank you, Niterific.
So, yeah, it seems like a good time to go ahead and... Since commentary is going off the rails since it's Saturday night and everybody's doing things we've seen before, definitely follow our runners here. These are 4 really great runners. And also
At least
follow
3
our
of them.
crew there. Well, yes, at least 3 of them. We'll let you figure out which one we don't care for, but follow them anyway, just so you can watch the badness. And definitely follow the crew. Do not follow me. That's why I'm not in there. I don't actually stream, but Boo sort of streams, not anymore. There was a time when Boo was going for the world record.
I obtained the world record. And then it was unceremoniously ripped away from me, allegedly. I didn't see proof.
It was, no one checked to see if they were playing with a deflated controller, which would have made them faster. So it's still up in the air, but
Yeah, it turns out though when things start opening back up and not that it applies anymore, but when it was safe to go back outside, there's just so many things to do out there. Streaming is low on the totem pole. But thanks to the Delta variant, maybe we'll be streaming again soon.
solid recommendation for the Worlds Collide randomizer from Boo. while Javinator is checking Phoenix Cave, which is probably my least favorite thing in its entire randomizer. I don't know why. It's not really that bad, but it's just, I don't know.
If you skip all the chests and just go for it, it doesn't take that long, but it is a whole lot of running around, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, and especially when you save it to the end, you know, the further you get in, the more pressure you feel like you're under, especially when you're playing against people who are pretty fast. So,
Yeah, those long checks feel extra long at the end of a seed too. Like if you did the Phoenix Cave first, it doesn't feel that bad. Unless, of course, you spend the whole seed wondering, did I just waste a bunch of time doing the Phoenix Cave?
Brianna with some foreshadowing there. And Mr. Entity pointing out, always remember to talk to the impresario before you start doing the Celeste check here, or else you'll have to walk back and talk to him and then walk back again.
Definitely not a jet seed.
No.
But Javinator is a nearing go mode. If he can get an Esper out of this cave. Stopping and picking up the long chests. Clearly he's not that pressured.
So speaking of Javinator, just a reminder that we have the ladder tournament that's going on, and we almost always are going to have a stream at 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. That's a ladder stream. So definitely check that out if you're in the mood for some more Worlds Collide content. And we do have a YouTube channel as well. Let's see if we have the... Yeah, there we go. We have the command for that. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Definitely feel free to swing by and check out these Twitch streams if you get the chance. It's summer. The lockdown's been let up. We've been streaming a little bit less than we were before, but I get the feeling that we might start having some more streams. And speaking of events, Elastoid is also running a draft event. So you can pair up against somebody else and you draft various flag sets. You know, if you think that your opponent is going to do poorly with low gold amounts, then you might draft that. It's kind of a neat twist on the Worlds Collide randomizer events. So don't think we have a standard scheduled stream for that, but a lot of the runners that you're watching tonight do participate in that. So definitely check them out.
Yeah, right now there is a weekly, let's see, what is it? Yeah, a featured race and a weekly race for the ladder going up on YouTube. Haven't put any of the draft streams there yet, but maybe we'll get some in the future. Should be a dead dragon for Javinator here. Here we go. As that Valiant Knife gets going, it's hard to stop. Looks like maybe some of the longer checks are going to be required, as though we're seeing so many of them. But Elastoid is choosing to go do Science Dream, which as I mentioned earlier, I really like. I would definitely do it before I did both Phoenix Cave and the Opera House, that's for sure.
Yeah, and one thing to note that Elastoid just did, if you didn't already know this, in the Worlds Collide randomizer, you only need to find one of the kids. So the path he took is the best path to take generally. You don't need to find all three, just find the one and then go to that door. So it's not immediately obvious. I know there's some talk about putting hints like that in the game in future versions. So if you talk to an NPC, they might tell you something like that. But for right now, just one of the things to keep in mind.
Spiciest of chickens waiting in Dreamland here. Saving goes down. Poltergeist has pretty high physical defense, so magic's the way to go here if you have it. But with a well-powered Dragoon, you can kill anything. So I say go for it.
Javinator picked up the Phantom Esper there. And looks like he's going off to KT. So at 116.22, we have our first KT entrance.
Got double jumpies on Elastoid screen. Wonder if he found the offering shops. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's already working with the best strategy. Just not the most popular one. Jack trying to get his final 2 espers from the auction house. Not opting to do any of those long checks.
I don't blame him.
Although-
Man, I hate the auction house.
Yeah, I was going to say the auction house in itself can be a very long check. Unless your name is Zelfer, in which case it takes about 22 seconds.
Yeah, Zelfer, one of our premier racers who is racing off the stream right now. I have a term called Zelfer luck, which you may have heard in the community. For some reason, he's really good at getting the espers in the auction house. And it's happened enough that it's become a meme.
I think I might go check in on Zelfer.
There you go.
See what he's coming on. Ugh, ads. Ugh.
Horrible. Meanwhile, Elastoid doing the little puzzle here in the train. One of those things, if you only play it casually every couple of years, you know, when you do vanilla, you're going to forget, but pretty simple, kind of annoying.
Well, all I will say is Zelfer luck is real. Hashtag Zelfer luck is real.
Elastoid at the part of the this check that Boo was talking about. Kind of annoying. You have to wait for that cutscene and walk backwards in here. It's all very strange. But still the check's still definitely worth it.
Yeah, minor inconvenience. And you get 2 more quick checks right after it. It's good stuff. Javanators making use of the Atma weapons, like I'd hoped we'd see. Still doesn't do as much damage as a good Valiant knife, but it's definitely much more serviceable than it was before.
Yeah, the animation's a little bit slower than a regular weapon, but nothing too bad.
And it also it'll ignore defense just like a Valiant knife would, which is great, and it doesn't suffer from the offering penalty. So still a great weapon. It adds another option to use with the offering, because before there were only a handful, basically 2 or 3 options to use with an offering, and offering such a fun thing, we were all trying to get it more ways to use it. So I'm happy I've made it in there.
I'm assuming that Javanator left a Moogle charm on somebody on the airship or something. I'm not sure why he's fighting right here.
Could be. You know, you can just unequip one from one party and keep swapping it around. If you do leave one on the airship, don't freak out. But considering he only has 6 characters, it would seem odd if he left anybody on the airship. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Jack finds a blue dragon there in Mount Zozo. Not too bad, kind of a mid-tier dragon. One of the rare water elementals.
It can be pretty rough if you find him early, unscaled. His big water attacks can rough you up, but yeah, once you get to about a mid-level, it's not so bad.
Looks like Elastoid should be ready to head into KT here any minute. So he has the benefit that he does not have to fight a dragon like Javanator does. So we'll see what that time difference ends up. They're pretty darn close.
He does only have 4 characters. Not going to be able to have any Moogle Charm mules or any extra item throwers, things like that for his fights. So could be put him at a disadvantage, but theoretically his characters will be maybe of higher level, so maybe it will offset.
Jack probably unhappy with that fine. Strago not popular in the best of times, and when you only need one Esper to get into KT, you're really not happy to see him because he does not open up any quick checks.
One.
Which one?
Not a one.
Oh, not a one. No.
Although Ebis Rock, I guess, is debatable. I mean, if you get that Zelfer luck going, it's not that bad. Which is, I imagine, what we may see from Jack coming soon. Just as soon as he grabs another beverage.
The Strago depression effect is real.
Yeah, I'd be pretty upset about it too. We got a whoops out of Javinator in the Discord. I'm not sure what that was in reference to.
That was over his forgetting to put a Moogle charm on that party.
Oh.
Tunnel armor for Lastoid. One of the cooler looking bosses to me, but we need to buff that thing. That thing needs... I would love to see Atma just quietly slip in a huge buff to Tunnel armor and make it one of the worst ones.
Enjoy that. But not even make it a flag. Not make it an option.
No,
just make it an in-game boss.
No patch notes, nothing. Just
set all stats to 255. Only uses Ultima. No weaknesses. $1 million HP.
That is a lot of hit points. I think the maximum is what, 65, 535?
Something like that, yeah. But there are ways around that.
Really?
We should give him 4 phases, like the final Kefka battle.
Atma, for those of you who don't know, is the developer of Worlds Collide. So if you're ever on the Discord, he comes in 2 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason, and always very helpful, always very friendly. I believe he does a lot of this by himself. So always nice to thank Atma for this, because this is, in my mind, by far my favorite randomizer. None of the other ones even compare to it.
Deal.
Man, Elastoid and Javinator just super close.
Going to come down to who's got the better offense and who's got better luck with the RNG aspects of the final fight, I would imagine.
Yep. Javinator going to push those 40-pound weights down onto those switches. Jack fighting Tentacles, which is not a great fight in general, but he's such a high level and so powerful, it's not going to be a problem.
You know, I understand it in the Opera House. You can make the case that it's like a weight holding up, on the ropes that hold up the curtains or some lights or whatever. Well, they probably didn't have like lights back then. But why would you leave weights just sitting there inside of the tower?
Maybe Kefka had a New Year's resolution he was going to get in shape, and like so many New Year's resolutions, by the 1st of February, you just throw them down wherever you can. All right, you're tripping over them, you put them outside, and here on these little balconies, just get them out of the way.
All right, I'll allow it.
And, Kefka's not super strong, which is why they're only 40 pounds. So Javinator finds Air Force, which in the vanilla game is kind of a joke, but Air Force can be really rough in Worlds Collide Randomizer, especially when you get him later game. I have seen him completely block runs to the point where people have to warp out and come back in with a stronger party. He can get kind of nasty when he does this move he's doing right here. A lot of damage, and he can get out of control sometimes.
Especially when you have an Atma weapon user who is dependent on having a lot of HP.
Yes, this is what I alluded to earlier, where you're going to have to keep your Atma weapon user healed up. If you have a Valiant Knife user, you actually want him to take damage. So, you know, got to go into your thought process there. But Cure 3 comes in really handy.
Race is getting tighter here. Basically, Valiant Knives versus Atma weapons at this point. But I like those. Valiant Knives is a double-edged sword or a double-edged knife. Because when you're keeping your HP so low, you can die and just lose your turn altogether. So sometimes not the best thing, but he's using Atma weapons also. Fascinating. I think Edgar has... No, Edgar's jumping. That's right.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind when you're using the Valiant Knife, if you're in critical health where your character's, down on their knees, sometimes, as we saw earlier, their little desperation attacks or limit breaks, some people call them, which is usually way worse at this point than a Valiant Knife hit. It's cooler.
You can swing it 8 times. Yeah, it doesn't do near as much damage. And as you mentioned, Air Force giving our runners some fits. If you are in a position where he's giving you a rough time, if you take out that right eyeball machine, well, he stops doing things.
Military term.
Yeah, that's the tough one. So if you get rid of that, it can really help. Target the right eyeball machine hand thingy first.
That one looks a lot happier than the one at the bottom. The one at the bottom looks kind of mad. The one on the right looks
kind of angry. No more messing around. Just jump on him.
Jobnator taking down Flame Eater, usually not a big problem. Always fun if you can get a Debilitator on Flame Eater and make him weak to fire, kill him with fire. Usually when you're not raced, though. Don't do that if you're in a race.
What's Jack doing? He's still looking for that final Esper, huh?
Yeah.
Oh wow, he picked Floating Continent over doing. Did you see if he attempted Ebbets Rock? Or even Fanatics Tower?
No, I don't think he's done any of the Strago checks.
I would definitely do those over going to the Floating Continent. That's for sure. I mean, if he only needed one anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd do Phoenix Cave, honestly, over this. At this point. Because you're not going to open any chests. You're just going to go.
Yeah, Floating Continent, I mean, you have to get through the first 3 fights, and then 2 boss fights, and then run all the way around the island. If you've gotten what you need your first check, you still have to go almost all the way through, well, over halfway through, just to go back to the airship. So it's not a quick check at all.
Right. Yeah, it's wonderful in the first half of a run, but
we should get Atma to put in a Floating Continent skip.
like the ability to warp out?
No, I mean like, let's go to the Floating Continent, and then you just land right where Jack landed here, and then as soon as you kill the first boss, it warps you right to the last boss. That's what I would like.
Yours for the low price of 200,000 gold pieces.
Worth it.
Yeah, sorry, if you're susceptible to flashing images, you're going to want to not look at Jack's screen right now. That is one quality of life thing that I've seen some requests for, is to make this friendlier to people who are sensitive to that. I know there's been some talk about how they might implement it, but that would be nice to see.
Yeah, I think a patch exists already and theoretically wouldn't take too much effort to include, but certainly not going to be me who does it. I don't know nothing about it.
You know how development is. Something that seems like it should be simple can be a nightmare. So.
But also, it's kind of fun. This area in particular is pretty hard to navigate when you can't see what you're doing.
Oh yeah, sure. If it doesn't, send you into a dangerous shock, yeah, it's kind of neat. But
So
Especially
Mr.
with Jack
E,
on your screen.
our one of our, I think our only runner to go to Mount Colts. It seems though every time you and I commentate a run and talk about Mount Colts, either the boss or the reward always ends up being garbage. So let's see if we've cursed Mystery's Mount Colts here as well.
Let's hope.
Here's Mr. E did not find the Valiant Knife Shop. Or if he did, he didn't buy very many of them. Rocking double pearl lances. Always fun.
Oh yeah. So Jack's about to enter Kefka's Tower here, right? A little bit after 132. Blastoid's fighting Foonbaba with just one character, but I feel like it's not going to be a problem. Foonbaba, one of the beefier enemies, but still, you're doing quad 9 damage. That's nothing stands up to that.
Nothing.
Mr. Entity fighting the tentacles. I still think the tentacles, when they grab characters, should do damage based on progression, as opposed to just 60 damage. Because at this point, getting grabbed by them is just an inconvenience. It would be interesting if it was actually dangerous.
Totally agreed. And we have our first finisher of tonight's race off screen. I'll let you guys guess who.
Javanator fighting Welk, which the first boss you fight in vanilla can be super frustrating to fight later on in the game, especially if you have something that can hit either him or his shell. I have seen people use offerings and hit the shell every time, and it take 5 minutes to kill this thing.
You can kill the shell. It can be done.
It's got a ton of hit points.
We should get Zelfer in here for an interview. This is taking forever.
Zelfer, tell us how a good runner did this seed.
Well, you know, we saw a lot of horrible approaches to this seed. Tell us what a good one would have looked like. Haven't commentated in a while.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Maybe this is why they don't ask me back.
Yeah. I think once every couple of months is enough.
I don't want to see Elastoid just go for it, whack that shell, but it's like he's gonna take the easy way out.
That's what we say, what we mean when we say, have some flair in your run. Attack the shell.
All right, what's going on? Who's doing what?
Well, Jack's still doing the little initial walk here. Mr. Entity is going to kill Magimaster here in just a second. Welk finally goes down for Elastoid, and Javanator is just about to go into the final battle sequence.
Thanks for the update. Wake me when the interviews are ready.
Come on now, this final Kefka battle sequence here is always interesting. This is a thing where, the best laid plans can cause ruin because, sometimes it's just brutal. Sometimes you'll get all the way to Kefka 4 and die and have to start over again. I don't expect it to be a problem, but you never know.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Especially with
Javanator. What's that?
Especially as tight as this race is.
Ah, yes. I was going to say Javanator won the initial fights with Elastoid through the tower, but he's right behind him. So now it's just a race to see who can take down Kefka the fastest. But again, it might come down to just RNG as every time I fight Kefka, he likes to freeze my entire party. Pretty much every time. It seems to be that I'm the only one who does that too.
Yeah, Kefka likes to cast Train on me, so does Sleep. I seems like I get Train at least a couple of times. Jobnator getting a nice first cast X zone, so the arm that is his right and to our left at the bottom there is vulnerable to instant death, including break and X zone. But X zone has a really bad hit rate, and sometimes it'll take 3 or 4 casts to get it going.
Yeah, accuracy is low. It's best. I mean, if we're only talking magic here, the Doom spell I think will work the best. Raiden isn't terrible, but Cleave is your best friend in this fight, if you have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I don't. Did Jobnator do Dome of Dream?
No, he didn't. He wouldn't have it. The last toy, I think. I mean, we know he did the Dream. I don't know if he brought a Sword Tekker in the fight. I don't think so. But also not needed if you have a whole lot of. Uh-oh. Oh, hey, he cast Float. All right, he's good.
Hey,
Oh,
Lock's
nope.
dead. Nope.
Whoops. Well, congratulations, Houdat. Your curse was effective.
Jobnator's such a nice guy too. I feel kind of bad.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yeah, he's required to be nice. It's their law.
And he must apologize to all of us. As I was saying, as far as instant death goes, I think Air Anchor is 100% accuracy as long as they can be instant death, but you do have to wait for that whatever you're trying to kill to take yet another turn. So it's not my favorite, but it will definitely do in a pinch.
Yeah, absolutely. Serenity fighting the weird Vectars that are all stacked on top of each other. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's supposed to be 4 of them just across the screen, but always a weird fight.
It's a weird fight. I think you can X zone all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or just run. All right.
Doing a little shuffling and going back after it. And Blastoise takes care of Tier 1. He's going to move on to Tier 2. Serenity slicing up an octopus. Still not quite enough damage to kill him with that one turn from Lock there. Foonbaba for Jack again. Really beefy, not a huge threat, but just a hit point sink at this point. Yeah, Jovinator showing off why X Zone's not great.
Multi-summon for all these Espers is also turned off, so it's a one-shot deal. Only one Golem cast. I think most people have picked up Raiden, but have to decide: do you want it on Tier 1 or Tier 2? Phantom a good cast for Tier 1, as Tier 1 is nothing but physical damage, and well, except for that Quake at the end, of course. But it won't be able to hit you as long as you don't ruin it yourself by casting Cure or something.
Yeah, you definitely want to kill these things in order here on the first tier. You want to kill his right arm, and then his head, and then the other arm. Oof, and yeah, I was about to mention that Tier 1 can turn your characters to stone here. think as Seto mentioned earlier, kind of hard to tell with this color palette, but Saban needs a soft.
Yeah, keep your eye on Saban and see if you can pick out the key
Yeah.
differences. Oh, come on.
That's not
That's
that bad.
super easy to tell.
Might be a little tougher with Shadow.
That one probably, yeah. Although I do want to go back and make another seed with all the palettes being in black and white, just to turn the whole game black and white. I think that'd be fun. Maybe add one touch of red in there, all Matrix style.
Could be an interesting Halloween theme seed.
All right, let's see how Javinator's going to make up some time here. He's going to have to make up a lot of it.
Yeah, he's exactly one tier behind Lastoid, and tier 2 usually the biggest time sink here. Now look at that, we have another off-stream finisher. Doesn't has finished in second place with a time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 24 seconds.
Picked the wrong racers for the restream. By we, I mean Brianna. We don't volunteer here. You make decisions, and then you're accountable for them.
You tell them they're restreaming.
Just kidding. We're all having fun here.
Yeah, if you would like to join our community and you would like to do these races, it is not a requirement to be restreamed at all. Unless
you will be publicly shamed.
You
not a requirement, but you will be public. Just kidding. You don't have to.
If you're somebody like Zelford, you're going to be publicly shamed.
You're definitely going to be publicly shamed regardless. So you might as well get on Restream so we can laugh at you. I mean, with you.
So Lastoid having a little bit of trouble here. Meteo's never fun.
Oof, yeah. He could be in trouble with first two. Signs in the air. That's where he belongs. Just another perk of being a Dragoon.
That's a lot of damage. Does he have calmness mitigation up? Yes, he does. So, not a big deal. He's missing Shadow, but I think he's got enough damage to take down Final Kefka. But if you do get yourself into a situation where you're getting meteoed and you need to get out of it, remember that you can heal, sleep, or drop a Revivify on him, and that'll heal him for 5,000. He does Meteo when he gets below 10,000 hit points. So if you want to get him out of that phase and calm him down a little bit so that you can regroup, remember heal or Revivify.
Pro strats.
I did not come up with them, but I did learn to emulate them. Locke taking his usual position of being dead on Javinator's screen.
And there they go. See if Jack can storm from behind. Who knows? Maybe this will be a record fast Kefka fight.
It could be. He's putting out some good damage.
But no, Elastoid wins.
I think there's
now Elastoid wins.
And
now Elastoid. There we go. All right, GG's to Elastoid with a time, official time of 1:45:09. We will see if we can get him in here for a late interview. Well, he's already in the waiting room, so I suppose he's up for it. I'm gonna just bring him in. GG's Elastoid. Well job. Good job on our on-stream winner.
Yeah, and on-stream's the only one that counts, right?
As far as the chat is concerned, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, GG's. I want to just point out, usually I would wait for Boo to go, but he's clearly having problems talking right now. we noticed your use of Sourmouth against the dragons, which I thought was a really good use. It seems like you took care of most of them pretty well with that.
Yes and no. I felt really silly against that gold dragon. Just like that fight took forever. And right after I cast Berserk, I was like, I shouldn't have cast Berserk. He wasn't doing any damage to me. So, I mean, that was a little silly, but other than that, yeah, Sourmouth is useful against dragons. When I saw that, I was like, I can take dragons early, and hopefully that'll propel me forward with XP.
Yeah, I believe you were the only one of our restreamed runners who did that. And I know there was some discussion in chat, like, what exactly does it do? And it has many of the status effects. So, very
It's essentially bad breath, right? Like, bad breath is iconic. People know it. But before it was bad breath, Woolsey made it Sourmouth.
Yeah.
Woolsey's a champion.
Yeah, it's a fun Woolseyism. You and were pretty much neck and neck all throughout Kefka's Tower. I think you went in. Javinator went into the final Kefka fight about 10-15 seconds before you did, something like that, maybe 30 seconds. But he played around a little bit too much with the Valiant Knife fire and got himself quaked and killed. And so that's what, if you noticed in Discord where he said something like, whoopsie.
Where he said he thought he was smart?
Yeah, that was the one. He cast Float on himself to avoid the quake, but then got counterattacked and died. It was quite funny. But yeah, up to that, it was neck and neck. And then, of course, when he started over, there was no hope for him because you had a really good final Kefka fight.
Well, there was plenty of hope for him on Tier 3 because you noticed
Get a little close,
all of my characters were low HP and I took a Meteo. Unfortunately, 2 characters were able to block it, but that was not an ideal spot to be in.
Well, the big difference was you had the foresight to use jumpers, and obviously the difference maker should be a lesson to everybody out there. Use jump. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I lost a little bit of time going back for those, especially since I couldn't decide whether to buy 1 or 2 sets. But having the fixed dice, I knew that was going to be a build with the Dragon Horn. I was quite lucky that Cyan was able to use it. And then, obviously Edgar's going to be pretty strong when he's jumping.
Yeah, so just want to break in here real quick. GG's to Javinator finishing in 4th place with a time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 29 seconds. So really close here on our restreams. But Elastoid, I wanted to get your thoughts on Valiant Knife versus Atma weapon strats. With the new improved Atma weapon that we have now in Worlds Collide, to me it can be kind of a decision that you have to make. Do you want to use the Atma weapon and try to keep all your players at really high hit points, or do you want to use the Valiant Knife and try to keep them low and manageable? What are your thoughts on that?
I think Valiant Knife is definitely going to be better in this. Or Atma weapon would have been better if I could have done a Genji glove and all that because the equipment and the permissions were weird. But Valiant Knife was definitely better for the situation I was in, just because I didn't have any good armor, so I knew that I was going to be taking. It was never going to be topped up. I didn't have a lot of armor. We didn't have a lot of potions and everything. And also we did have a lot of like curative magic and life too, which meant like you can sort of play on that knife's edge and be all right. Not something that you normally want to do. Like I generally would prefer Atma weapon. In fact, if I had remembered to buy a second one, then Sabin probably would have been going in with a Genji glove Atma weapon and offering.
Cool. Well, GG's again on the finish. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, just thank you guys for restreaming this and for doing all this. So yeah, it's good to have community races and everything. I'm glad to be to win my first one on stream. And Dozeny and Zelfer don't count because they weren't on stream. That's all.
Well, they don't count. They don't ever count.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks. GG's again. We'll see you at the next one.
GG's, man. or anything
Reminder
like that.
plug, by the way, for the tournament, the other tournaments going on in the Worlds Collide community. Elastoid is running a draft tournament, and our other finisher, who we're about to get in here now, is running a ladder tournament. Find details on Discord and find some races on YouTube. And now let's get him in here. Javinator, GG's, second place on stream.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to happen. It just didn't occur to me that the Quake would still make the Phantom go away if it misses. But, like, of course it does. And then, of course, he takes that hit. But in the heat of the moment, that's not what I was thinking about. And as soon as the Quake started happening, I'm like, oh no, are they going to lose that? And then they did, and then he died.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I probably would have done the same thing, as I also didn't remember that, you know, you'd think if you're floating and you Quake missed that it wouldn't do anything with Phantom, but also, you know, getting a counterattack there, unlucky as well. But no matter, still finished second on Restream. Not bad. What did you... So we were just talking to Elastoid about the differences between Valiant Knives and Atma weapons. I noticed you were rocking some Atma weapons. What do you think about the new Atma weapon?
I love them. And I was kind of thinking with those levels I got in the tower, like, yeah, I was swinging big with Lock, but from a consistency point of view, I'm wondering if I should have thrown them on somebody else. But yeah, they're great, right? Like, they basically saved me in the tower. I had no path 1 or like you know what I mean, the sideways doors other than the Lock. I had no plan. And then I was fighting a dragon. I'm like, oh yeah, Atma weapons work with this. I'll just switch the gear around, which worked really well. Unfortunately, I'm not good at moving gear around, and so my menuing's really slow. But other than that, basically the Atma weapon saved me in this seat.
Yeah, we like them. There were... I don't remember how many shops you checked, or if it was you that found them, but there were Valiant Knives, Offerings, and Atma weapons all for sale in different shops in this seed. So the choices were all there.
So that would have made a big
I don't think
difference
there were
if I found the offering shop.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there were any Genji gloves for sale, but I think people found two of them in 2 different places as well. So it's all sorts of different options here, and we had some jumpers. There were dragon horns for sale. It was all kinds of fun. But we did notice, well, mostly because you said it in Discord, you forgot to equip that Moogle charm in Kefka's Tower. What happened there?
You already described that. So
All right.
I was going party to party, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do for order, but I also knew I was moving around gear and stuff like that, so I knew that basically I just got confused. I have like very small capacity for remembering things in my brain, and that makes me mess up a lot, and so I forget Moogle charms. So in my head, I'd already...
I think I have that same thing.
Yeah, in my head, I'd already dealt with paths 1 and 2. It wasn't a big deal. I could just run ahead. And then, no, I had not. I unequipped Celis of everything, and I never popped that Moogle charm on Mog. I was already moving on to the next thing. So, yeah, it's kind of a funny seed. Like, GG to Elastoid. I can definitely count 3 minutes of mistakes. But that was a lot of fun. It was an interesting seed. It was hard to get the XP, so you had to kind of take those long checks. Yeah, I should have known early to duck out of that Katana Soul fight. I should have just reset and gone somewhere else before I wasted time fighting it for a while. But yeah, I like seeds like that they're a little bit challenging, but they're not like impossible challenging. So it was fun.
Cool. And yeah, we were talking about those long checks. People did different ones. Like we saw, I mean, most everybody did Floating Continent, but we also saw some opera houses. And we saw some Phoenix Caves, and a bunch of different... There's just a bunch of different checks available. So it was actually fairly divergent. But
yeah, I kind of wish...
It was fun to watch.
I wasn't really paying attention to my dragons and my levels. I kind of wish I stopped doing long checks earlier and jumped into a dragon fight earlier, and used that to boost levels instead of those long checks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because by the time I was killing my last dragons, I was already like significantly high level. I shouldn't have waited that long to go after them, and I didn't want to go all the way through Edgar's thing just to get that ancient castle dragon when I really wish I did that maybe 2 checks before, kind of thing. So yeah, a little.
Well, you know, it
logic
happens.
Mistakes, but it was fun. Yep.
Huda, you got anything for Javinator?
Just two things. Number one, GG's. It's a great race to watch. And number two, one thing that Elastoid showed off that I didn't know. I guess I knew, but I didn't know that I know. Sourmouth is an excellent thing to use against dragons and against Katana Soul because it applies a lot of status effects to him. I think he was the only one that did that consistently, and it allowed him to kill quite a few dragons early. So
Yeah, that's a good point. I had that in my head for dragons. I didn't even think about it for Katana Soul, but of course that makes a ton of sense. By the time I was fighting dragons, I was already pretty jacked up, and I was just hitting away. I didn't want to waste the time to use it, but yeah, that could have let me take him way earlier.
cool, man. Well, no, that's all I have. GG's. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a
Any,
lot.
Final thoughts before we let you go?
No, just thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for the randomizer existing. All hail Atmatech, and y'all have a good night.
Hail.
Night, man.
Cool, thanks. All right, Jack. The floor is yours.
First, congratulations to Jack, who finished in 5th place with a time of 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 31.853 seconds.
Wow, the timer's that accurate?
Indeed, it is.
You also have no cookies.
Oh no, I've got plenty of those.
I mean, you didn't get any cookies.
Yeah, but I have hundreds of them. Who cares?
Somebody with more cookies than you.
Perhaps.
Sounds like we need
But,
to cook next.
It should be pretty obvious if you watch me that I just kind of was doing whatever seemed funny. So, what was your favorite moment of what I did tonight?
I think it was when you were looking for the keys to the Magitech armor for like 3.5 minutes here at the beginning, and then I assumed that someone named Steve was the root cause of that. We assumed that he was a person that lost the keys.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I really, really wanted to get a Magitech command, so I thought if I just stood there for like a few minutes, it would work. But it didn't, so I blamed Steve.
Steve. I like when you fought Siegfried.
Yeah, that was funny too. I was very amused and surprised when I got 2 limit breaks in a row in my first battle. That was something.
I haven't seen that before. I don't think ever.
I didn't even know you could get 2 limit breaks in the same battle.
It's hidden either. Well, we should. Somebody should calculate the odds of that.
It's probably stupid, would be my guess.
I bet Zelfer's done it.
How about that time that we had seizure mode for 2 minutes while I ran around on the floating continent? That was pretty funny too.
Oh yeah, you made several members of the chat vomit.
Nice.
Hey, listen, you're going to lose a couple people every stream, right?
Who needs subscribers anyway?
I don't know. I'm amazed people still follow me on Twitch. I'm just this guy, you know?
I do know.
Thank you, Zaphod. Don't let it get to your heads.
Well, so you didn't come in last, so that's good. Any final thoughts before we watch Mr. E finish up his run here?
Well, the key to my success was that I bought a whole bunch of Ragnaroks, and then I could just basically hold A. Except for the couple of times where I didn't hold A because it was tactically wise to not do so.
Those are pro strats from our reigning champion there.
I know, right?
Use the A button on your Super Nintendo controller.
Yep, it's the best button. You hold it down and your guys just keep swinging swords. Just make sure you have good ones.
Who needs Nintendo power?
I don't know, you didn't start with gear, so I mean, it was like, well, I got some shields. Now I've got some red caps. Actually, the more I think about it, I think I found each piece of gear basically in some sort of order. I found all my shields, then I found all my red caps, then I bought some Ragnaroks, and then I found some Minervas. More Minervas than I could equip.
Yeah, Valiant Knives were cheap. It was a high damage potential seed. You know, we were talking with everybody about the differences between Valiant Knife strats versus Atma weapon strats. You know, having to keep your hit points high or low.
Also, I think I'm the first person ever to spend $40,000 on 2 rename cards.
There's a feather in your cap.
Yeah, it was, totally a productive use of my resources for the purposes of winning a race.
Well, when you did, in somebody's heart, just
Yeah.
not here on Reed.
Oh, and I had Cyan punch the Gru hole. That was funny too.
Speaking of which, Mr. Entity just took down the Gruer itself.
Yeah, I see that. Seriously, how did I not finish last here? I was just trying to do all the memeiest memes that I could ever meme.
Well, Mr. Entity thought it'd be a good idea to go shopping for about 40 minutes. So
I see. Yeah, he just wants to make us all wait to play the Jackbox that he's hosting after the restream. Everyone's welcome, by the way.
hey, no unsolicited plugs.
Yeah, I don't think my Jackbox plugs check got cast for that, so you're going to have to be careful.
Well, I don't know. I saw a lot of outlets, so I just plugged one thing in there. I could plug in some more stuff if you like.
That's enough.
But I have so many dongles. They need
Yeah,
power, boo.
Let's
They need
let's
all the power.
Let's keep this stream PG. Thank you very much. I'm gonna hear
You
about
need
your
to get-
dongles.
Dude, you need to get your mind to get out of the gutter. I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, thanks, Jack.
Okay, fine.
See you at the next one.
Let's go.
I don't know what that was, but I suspect it's something Bruins related.
I think it's Canadian for something about hockey. But speaking of Canadians, Mr. Entity is about to enter the final Kafka battle here, so... we don't know Keel, and that's honestly, that would be a long distance call for me, so I'm going to decline, but I appreciate the sentiment.
All right, off we go.
I think Jack was saying how pleased he was that the Stanley Cup is where it belongs in Florida.
Don't-
My Canadian's a little rusty, but I think that's what he said. And White Mage wins. He is our #1 finisher, so congratulations to White Mage. Zelfer, sorry.
Congratulations to White Mage TV for winning the race tonight.
Yep.
I honestly can't even remember anybody else who ran.
Yep. Be sure to follow White Mage TV, assuming that they stream. Follow them anyway, even if they don't.
See if Mr. He's getting lucky with the hits there. I was going to see if he was going to bring out the float strategy that Javinator employed, but looks like he's going to be okay.
So while we're sitting here at the low point in the stream, should give a shout out here to our runners. Follow them there with those links. Follow the crew as well. Brianna, Boo, Ceiling Cat, It's Naku. Everybody, excellent streamers with the one exception there. Kielbasiago has a poor attitude in chat, which is disappointing to see. But one thing to note, we do have a YouTube channel. We're trying to plug it a lot. These races will be uploaded to YouTube. I think we have to wait 24 hours because of rules, but we're putting all these here. Boo, I think you're putting some races that are not restreamed on this official channel up there. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, it was. I'm not doing that anymore, but they're on there.
Okay, wonderful. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much, and try to join us here on Twitch if you can. We definitely try to stream 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays, and we do have Javinator's ladder tournaments going on, usually Thursday at 7. Elastoid and Edgeworth are running a draft event that's going on. There's no standard restream time for them, but quite a few people in the community are running it, so definitely follow. I know at least a few of the people that are running here are doing it, so definitely check in on that. Mr. Entity here on Tier 2.
Rocking those Valiant Knives.
Oh, it's wonderful. With 65 hit points, it's beautiful.
I love it. I wouldn't have anybody else attack.
Well, Locke's doing quite a bit of damage here, so if Mr. E can get Mog and or Locke up to Final Kefka, it should be a one-hit kill, I would hope.
Quarter's actually the thing you want to see the most when you have, excuse me, double Valiant Knife users. It's going to be a, maybe not a record tier 2, but a fast one. 10 hits,
Yeah, there's
probably don't want to see as much. This is
There's
the
the flip.
problem with Valiant Knife users. But I hope there was another target still available after hit, or he's going to be in some trouble.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, I think Sabin has 2 Pearl Lances, so it might still be fine.
Yeah, well, hey. What better ending to a restream than something really interesting going on? We'll see what his backup strats look like.
Well, he can steal a Ragnarok. Theoretically. Hey, you got it. Oof. So Silas putting out the big damage. Let's see. Is he debating resetting, or is he just thinking about strategy here?
I would imagine both.
I hope he goes for it and then wins.
Yeah, unfortunately, when your characters die, they don't drop their gear on the ground for the next person to use.
Oh, look, he has an offering with a Ragnarok. And there he goes. Yikes.
All right. Well, hey, good tenacity there. You know, you got yourself in a bad situation, but not giving up.
The good news is, with so many Valiant Knives happening, he can get back to that point relatively quickly. Just have to cast that Phantom before your final hit as to not get destroyed by 10 hits.
Yeah, that's the problem with using offerings or any kind of multi-target stuff, even with Merton. You need to be very careful about the order in which you take things down. I know multiple times I have attempted to do offering Genji Glove Valiant Knife on tier 1, assuming that it would hit the thing I needed to hit one time, and it did not. So,
Sometimes you eat the bar and,
Yeah, what is it? Some kind of Eastern thing?
Far from it, dude.
Sounds like a Canadian maritime saying.
All right, round 2.
So another pro tip here, whenever you're selecting your party for the Final Kefka battle, if you only choose, say, 4 people, and then you hit go, you're not limited to those 4 people. The computer will just randomly assign people to fill in. So if you don't really care about the order after your first 3 or 4 prime folks, just hit end and it will fill in as needed. Something I didn't know until I started playing Worlds Collide and watching people do it.
And you don't need to go all the way down and hit end manually. You can just use the start button. Save even a few more frames.
That's what that button's for. Start the fight.
Mr. E's trying hard here to avoid the Quake, but I think he actually has enough HP to where he could take the Quake and parlay it into some meaty Valiant Knife plays at the start of Tier 2, and then maybe either heal up or make sure you Phantom before finishing it off. So I would actually just YOLO strat this one and not worry about hitting the head and just eat the Quake.
Yeah, but I don't blame him for playing it safe after what we just saw.
I blame him. I blame him all day long. I blame him for stuff he hasn't even done.
I mean, he's probably involved in some way. The tendrils of Mr. Entity extend everywhere.
You know those Canadian Islanders can't be trusted.
Yeah, Jobnator, talking about Sourmouth and stuff, it's one of those things where, vanilla knowledge or obscure knowledge every once in a great while will come in handy. And that just comes from practice. There's no real good way just to sit and read a bunch of stuff and remember it all. It's just get your reps in.
Employing the aforementioned air anchor strats, it will guarantee a death, but it will get to take one more turn, and in the meantime, it's absorbing all these extra Valiant Knife hits, which could be going to other targets. The main reason I don't like air anchor, I mean, it's, don't get me wrong, it works, but I much prefer almost anything else to instant death something. He also got mute cast on the one character who's casting a spell, so that sucks.
Yeah, so just again as a heads up here, while you can instant death tools, the thing in the middle there, you can cast stop on hit, which is the blue guy in the front, and you can cast a mute on magic, which is the guy in the back. So the only thing that can't be crowd controlled really is going to be the tiger, which you really want to kill first anyway because it does a lot of nasty stuff.
Yeah, he's a bit gun shy now, but I say just go for the Valiant Knives. Let him fly.
Yeah, dual 8-hit Valiant Knives. I mean, you're going to do a lot of damage. Do you have 8 or does he just have 4? Does he have Genji Gloves?
I think he at least one of them has 8.
Yeah. So we were talking about the hide-on versus hidden. I've heard some people refer to the Genji gloves as Gingy gloves, which seems
That one hurts me.
It's a little weird. And then again, I've heard people call Revivifies Revivifies before, so you never
That
know.
one makes perfect sense.
That
You don't revive something, you revive it. All right.
honestly, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he's braving the 10 hits now. He made it through. So now what's the strategy? Or you're curing? Oh, I don't like it.
So congratulations to our 6th place finisher. Offline again, Radio Guy PDX is finished with a time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Genji, come on.
Genji gloves,
Mertron?
Mertron. Oh, Mertron's a good one.
That's the best one.
I like the Magi Master versus was it? What do people say?
Magimaster.
Magion or McGimmister. Yeah. That's a good one.
McGimmister? I haven't heard that one, but I like it.
I just made it up. It's a real hard J. Thank you, Govinator. Your input is always welcome.
That's Hobinator.
Oh, Hobinator, right? I'm sorry.
He's from España.
I gotcha. Oh, Hackamus Wedge. It makes a lot more sense now if we call him Hack. Now I get it. I'm sorry. I mean, I've been wrong for almost 2 years at this point. Brianna calling for some Mertron. Always fun. Always nice to see.
Really nailing down that psych out. And now we're fighting. Okay, we're fighting.
You know, sometimes you just have to take a second and just appreciate how far you've come. Think about all those, you know, the loved ones that have fallen, all the people that supported you to get here.
Took all of us working together to lose this one. That's 2 solid basketball quotes in a row. I feel underappreciated.
And I have not seen that movie in a long time. Though there was one of the characters we used to call a guy that we hung out with, which I will not repeat here on this PG-13 stream. But he did not enjoy the nickname, and yet it stuck.
Squeak?
Something like
I know which nickname you're talking about.
There are no solid basketball quotes.
Okay,
The
somebody's
last boy has
just
been
asking.
disqualified from the race.
Somebody's asking for a ban.
It's important to remember that not only is Boo your commentator tonight, he's also a moderator on the Discord. So, and there aren't really a whole lot of rules.
Well, somebody's already been timed out a couple times, so I guess they're used to living on the edge. All right, I feel like we're on the cusp here. Saving the Valiant Knife strats for the final hit. Okay.
Ah, very nice.
And well done, Mystery. All right.
So
That's gonna
congratulations.
do it.
On a
Let's see if we
218
can.
flat.
Are mods able to read what I said? Yes. Yes, I can.
So I think Mr. Indonesia can take a second, and should be in just a little bit. But might as well take some time to say, you know, GG's to everybody, and thank you all for joining us here. I think this was a really interesting race, really interesting flag set. I think I like the low character requirements. I think they opened the doors a little bit more. You know, if this had been something like a 7-10 or even like a 7-8 or something, you know, I don't know if it would have played out as interestingly as it did.
Yeah, the character thing kind of forces everybody more so into the same checks. Because there are fewer of them, fewer opportunities to find them. So it's not always guaranteed. Like a low character count doesn't mean you're not going to have a lot of overlap, but it happens certainly a lot more often if you require more characters. And as we see tonight, it's not like a lower character requirement equals a fast seed. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Even with all the power everybody had with everything, it still took a little bit of time. So
I'm here now.
Hey, it's Mr. Entity.
Yeah, sure is.
Well, you finished.
I sure did.
Barely. Congratulations.
It was a done deal. It just took forever.
yes, GG's. You're also muted if you're trying to talk.
Am I?
Nope, I can hear you. Something's wrong with it. Don't worry about him.
Okay, then I blame Houdat and more generally Jack.
That's fair. Yeah. So I like the Valiant Knife plays there at the end, except for
When it didn't
you
work.
died and then you stopped using them. I think you should have just gone for it a second time.
I wasn't gonna do it a third time, so.
Well, I never said you need to do it a third time. I said go for it a second time and just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, you're
But
probably right.
Somebody wanted to finish, I guess. So it's fine. Well, so how'd it go? I mean,
I don't think I turned my brain on today.
I know she took a long time to really get going. There was a whole lot of shopping and looting and whatnot, but I don't know if you were looking for something specific or if you were just having a grand old time.
The first 30 minutes, I had no idea what was going on. And I knew I had lost by the end of it. But basically, I forgot that thing where if stuff is valuable to buy, it's also valuable to sell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Precisely
So-
half as valuable.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I was just looking in every chest and every shop for a while, and then I found Valiant Knives, and I went, well, that's the rest of my game.
Yeah. Not surprisingly, not everybody found them, even though they were in a pretty common shop. But there are also offerings and Atma weapons and all sorts of stuff for sale in this.
Yeah.
feed.
I bought 4 offerings and a couple Atma weapons. Where were Valiant Knives that weren't in Miranda? Because that's the only place I saw them.
I can't remember, but everybody else except for Jack found them.
I
Huh.
think we're in. I think we're in Narsh, World of Balance Narsh, I believe. Oh no, Figaro Castle. That's right, Figaro Castle.
Oh, so I found them in Figaro after I had already found them elsewhere. I found them twice.
Yeah, I believe Javinator and Jack went to Figaro Castle pretty early, whereas you and Elastoid started out in Narsh.
Yeah. I don't know what I was doing at the start of that seed, but I finished it. I also found out that the spec doesn't absorb Aqua Rig.
So one thing that we learned tonight, that some of us knew and just had forgotten, is that Sour Mouth is really great whenever you need effect magic on things like dragons or Katana Soul.
Yes, I saw that at the start and then went, I think I tried to berserk the white dragon, but I think that's the one you mute.
Yeah, you mute him.
Okay. Oh, whatever. It was one of the things that doesn't let you magic, and I had the wrong one.
So
Sour
we-
Mouth would have been useful.
We were talking with everybody about the differences in strategies between Valiant Knives and Atma weapons, right? One requires high hit points, one requires low hit points, but they're both a way to do a tremendous amount of damage. What are your thoughts on that? Do you like one better than the other?
Valiant Knives are more globally useful. Even with the better Atma weapon, you still have to get to a decent level to use it. I think more people can natively use the Atma weapon, though. So there's that. At the end there, I was considering switching out some of my Valiant Knives for Atma weapons just to see if they did more damage if I was at max health. But then I went, that would require effort that isn't holding A.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the good news is you did it.
I sure did.
Miss Congeniality.
And in record time.
Some kind of record.
It's
I will
not a
note
good one.
you're the only person that finished on an even minute, so congratulations.
Ooh, round numbers.
All right. Well, let's get people out of here. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I wish I had played it differently. And also, if anyone wants to come play some Jackbox, I'm going to be running some in like 15, 20 minutes.
Well,
So come do that.
well, you know what? We'll put the linkies in the chat, and you can find this is Mr. Entity talking, inviting you all over to his house for milk and cookies.
Well,
So
so they're not good cookies.
I was told there'd be milk and cookies.
There is, but they're not good. I wouldn't.
Well, that's for each person to decide for themselves. Thanks again, Mr. Entity, and we will see you at the next one.
All right, thanks to everyone's, and we'll see you later.
GG's.
All right, folks, that's going to do it. This was our weekly race. This was Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. Come join us on Discord. Links in the chat. I'm Boo. With me was Houdat. Our thanks to Ceiling Cat, It's Naku, and Brianna Fofana. And that's going to do it. We out.
Night, everybody.